Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the number one most important piece of PT gear that the Academy expects you to bring but does not issue to you. Any guesses what it might be? Also has one of the biggest impacts on your PT experience at the Academy. If you guessed running shoes, then you are correct. So running shoes are super important because you use them every single day during PT. You use them from running, you use them for the mat room, and whenever you go around the perimeter road, which is a hard pavement, you are going to be running on that. So it can really stress your shins, knees. So you want to make sure that you have a great pair of running shoes. And when I say running shoes, I literally mean running shoes, not cross trainers, not hiking shoes, trail shoes. If you have something that has really aggressive tread, it can actually snag and cause you to twist your ankle a little bit more than like a running shoe with a smoother bottom. So you want to find shoes that are supportive, comfortable for your stride, and really meant for a lot of running volume. So we're not going to get into a lot of detail about the gait and the pronation, but just understand that everybody runs differently and that depending on how your stride is, you may need shoes that are a little bit more supportive. And you can go to a running store and get a gait analysis. They're generally free. And then they can help you to find a shoe that is supportive of the way that your pronation is. So that way you're not running and fighting against your gait. And being somebody that actually has had knee surgery before, I found this to make a humongous difference in my running when I went to, I think it was maybe like a Brooks running store, and got my gait analyzed, and I found out that I needed to get a little bit of a different kind of shoe, and that was so helpful to me. So I highly recommend going and getting a gait analysis if you have any question about the type of shoe that best fits you, because even if you don't have pain or discomfort now, just the sheer volume of miles that you're going to be putting on your shoes at the Academy can really expose the types of alignment that you have if it's not ideal. And the top mistake that I see applicants making is they come rocking old, worn out, favorite tennis shoes from like a year or two ago, and they're just so broken down. The tread is worn off of them. The cushioning is pretty much gone. Sometimes they even have holes in them. Or they're rocking a brand new pair of shoes that they've only tried on in the store and they haven't actually broken in at all. They might even still be new in the box in their suitcase. You don't want to do either of those extremes because shin splints are real, and if you have shoes that are not well broken, you can really aggravate your shin area. Blisters, overuse, things like that can be problems if you don't have shoes that are really well broken in when you get there. So some advice is to bring two pairs of the same running shoe. This is something that my old instructor told our class way back when, and he recommended having two pairs because sometimes you would be out and the pavement would be wet and then your shoes wouldn't have enough time to dry. If you try running in wet shoes, it can really cause a lot of chafing and different issues. So if you have both pairs of shoes broken in before you arrive, that is ideal. So maybe purchasing a couple of weeks before you're going to be leaving and getting, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs in them can really help get you accustomed to your shoes, get your shoes broken. So that is a good tip there. And when you're using your shoes at the Academy, you have a locker there. So you can leave your shoes in there, or you can leave both pairs in there, and then alternate the shoes that you run in. So you can wear shoe A one day and then shoe B the other day to allow each one to dry out and kind of the cushioning to come back. So that's enough about shoes. Let's move on to the other PT gear that you're going to be required to bring. So one of the comments on my last video was asking what all do we need to bring for PT, what kind of clothing, things like that. So I thought I would talk that in this side of the shoe video. So other required items are compression shorts. And these are not fancy shorts at all. These are basically any kind of spandex. They can be made out of like a cotton blend. They can be polyester. They can be whatever material variation as long as they are tight. And basically these are going to be what you're going to wear over your underwear, but under your PT shorts. They need to be dark. The most common colors are black or navy. No designs, no logos. If you happen to have like a very small logo, you can take a permanent black marker and mark over that if you need to. These are not issued to you. These are something that you're going to need to bring PT session. And the reason for wearing are is because you're going to be climbing up a ladder on the C course. You're going to be wrestling with each other. You're going to be on your back working on weapon retention and different defensive tactics. And, the shorts that they provide you have wide legs. And so they'll creep up and nobody wants to see each other's underwear. So that's what the compression shorts do. So every class is required to wear those. I recommend at least 5 pairs because for the most part, well, you're going to be laundering them yourselves, but it's going to be generally on the weekends. Not a lot of people want to go after hours during the weekday to wash things. So keep that in mind. Plus, any off duty running that you're going to be doing after hours or on the weekends, you may want to bring a few more, but I would say this is your bare minimum, is to bring 5 pairs. Next is socks. So this is something that is optional, but I really recommend it because the socks that you get at the academy are all different ages. Some of them have been worn by hundreds or thousands of trainees before you, many of whom have maybe larger feet, stinkier feet, smellier feet. The socks could be really thin and threadbare sometimes. And I just think it's good, even hygienically, to wear your own socks, bring your own socks with you, and just keep them in your locker with your shorts. If you do bring socks, they have to be white. They have to be the very low, like the no-show, ankle, or low cut. No crews, no tube socks, nothing with a design, logo, anything like that. No stripes, just plain white socks. And you can get packages of those at Walmart. So if you didn't want to bring socks with you, you wanted to kind of see how it went with the academy socks, you can always get a pack. I think they're sold in like, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 10 packs at Walmart. So that's something that I think most people enjoy doing, bringing their own socks, but you do not have to. The academy will issue you a pair of socks that you can wear whenever you change your PT uniform in and out. So this is for the ladies. The academy does also issue sports bras, but they are pretty low support, pretty old. I think the ones that I have seen look like they're from the 90s, and they're just not what I would consider a more appropriate level of support for most women doing high impact workouts there. And it may be fine for, other agencies that are doing other types of PT, but I do not recommend them for Border Patrol Academy ladies. So I do think that getting moderate to high impact is the best. You're going to want to bring at least 5, probably more like 6, so that you can wash them on the weekends. It's going to depend on how much after duty running and the weekends you're going to want to do. Very important for obstacle course because you're going to be wearing a shirt, you're going to be jumping over things, and defensive tactics. You do a lot of things where you've got someone's head pretty close to you. So it's just nice to make sure that everything is secure and not going to be moving around. So other options, conditional items. These are things that they put on the list that you can have, although it's kind of instructor dependent. So you can have a fitness watch. It is optional. It is not required. I would not even say it's necessarily recommended. It's just something that they have started to allow trainees to have in recent years. So this is generally to help you pace yourself on the run so you have a better chance of passing the PT final. It's not necessary to succeed when you're doing your runs. There will be instructors that'll be calling off lap by lap what the time is. So you'll have a pretty good idea of your pace as you're going around. However, if you already have one and you want to work on things maybe off duty or do some perimeter runs on the weekend, it's totally fine to bring. But I wouldn't necessarily say buy one just for the academy if it's not something that you're already using for your workout. So before we go on, all this stuff that is up here, all these clothes, you're going to be keeping them in a PT locker there in the PT building. And the way that the uniform issue works is you will go to like a big service window and you will check out the size of PT gear that you need. So you need large shirt and medium pants or whatever, you check those things out. And if it's cold, you can also check out, sweats. They'll give you socks and the bras if you want them. And then when you're done with them, you can turn them back in and swap them out for fresh PT gear anytime that window in the PT building is open. Most people do that after hours. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Also, there is a new rule at the academy that you cannot wear your own personal PT gear out on campus off duty. So if you're doing like a perimeter run after hours or on the weekends or maybe practicing a C course, they want you to be in your Border Patrol PT uniform. So that's something to kind of plan ahead because the PT building window, I think maybe Sunday it's closed. So you need to be checking your PT uniform in and out so you have something clean. You don't want to be the person with the, stinky, wet, nasty PT gear that you didn't get changed out in time before class. So Don't be that guy. Braces, sleeves, things like that. You can use those, just don't show up without going through the med shed first. And it's kind of a case by case thing. It's not really that big of a deal. There was somebody that asked me about braces a couple days ago, and you can use a mouth guard. I know a lot of times when you have braces, they issue you some protection. So just let your instructor know, and I'm not sure if those have to get cleared or not. I don't think so. But go ahead and bring those. If you have some sort of protective gear, even maybe if you just occasionally use it, just bring it so you have it there in your room. And then if there comes an opportunity when you feel like you might want to use that, then you'll have it with you. So things that you can't have earbuds in PT, you can't have regular watches, you can't have jewelry, you can't have any sort of gaudy accessories, things like that. Like if you're a female, you just have to keep your hair very neutral and out of your face. We already talked about this new rule here. I will say if you do have some sort of piercings or something, maybe a belly button ring, you're going to want to take that out. You're going to want to leave all that stuff in your PT locker, because if you're doing the confidence course, you don't want to catch it going over a wall or something like that, wrestling with somebody in defensive tactics. So just pay attention to the rules they give you, and when they say no jewelry, take all of it out. You can put it back in when the class is over with. So I think that is it for the clothing. Just in summary, the number one thing is shoes. You want to have great shoes. You want to have a really good quality. The brand doesn't necessarily matter. There's everything from Brooks, New Balance, Adidas, Reebok, all of those different types. Just get something that fits you well. Make sure that you break it in before you bring it. Having good gear can really help you prevent injuries, shin splints, things like that. And it's just going to have a better PT experience for you having good gear. So it's not about the gadgets. It's about you and being prepared. I'm trying to have a new video out most weekends. We're kind of on a PT topic right now, so we're going to continue with that. And if you would like more information or more support regarding Border Patrol Academy, consider joining my school group. I do have a Border Patrol Academy course in there. We have packing list, all kinds of good information in there. And you're welcome to